What's up guys? Welcome to my little YouTube video. So today I wanted to talk to you about balancing lifting with running. We're gonna get right into it. So a little bit of background on myself is I have been running since I was about 12 years old. I ran all the way through high school and in college, and then to this day I still run almost daily. I still do races, and I have been lifting since I was 16. Now, a lot of people think that you lose muscle when you run or you can't build muscle when you run, and I'm here to tell you that I do not believe that is true at all. I think a lot of it comes down to diet and recovery and just doing it in a smart way. I have gained so much muscle since I started lifting, and throughout this whole time I was running very consistently. Now, I don't do long distance. I don't do 12, 14, 16 miles. I do mostly middle distance, okay? So I do about, I would say 4 to 7 miles, and that's pretty much what I've stick to throughout cross country, throughout track. Some days it might be longer, but I do mostly middle distance, so this is not for anyone who is a marathon runner or an ultra marathon runner. This is mostly middle distance, consistent running throughout my weightlifting time. I lift weights 5, sometimes 6 days a week, and that's what I have been doing for the last 8, almost 9 years, which is crazy. Alright, so it is the morning, so I did get some Starbucks coffee. So when I wake up, I like to get my run done first thing in the morning, and if I don't get it done in the morning, then I'll do it post-lifting. Now, the reason why I do it after lifting is because I don't want to sacrifice, my form when I'm lifting. I don't want to be more tired when I'm lifting, so I save running for right after. But I think the best thing to do is to get it done first thing in the morning, and then a couple hours later, eat, rest, recover, and go into lifting. Alright, I'm also mixing up some water here. Went out and bought a gallon of water, and then I put these Gatorade Zero packs in just for some electrolytes so I don't get dehydrated. Okay, and typically I will run outside. I kind of prefer it, but it is so hot outside. It's summertime here in Florida, so I'm gonna go ahead and run on my treadmill today at home, and then we're gonna go to the gym a little bit later. Okay, so we're just gonna do a nice and easy 4-mile run on my treadmill. So typically about twice a week I will do some type of interval training, whether it is on the cross trainer or the treadmill. And today I'm just doing a steady state run because it is leg day. So whenever I train legs, I try to not do intervals unless it is post lift. So that way I am well recovered for my leg day. I'm ready to go and I feel fresh. I like to save my intervals for an upper body day or a day that I am not lifting. Okay, so I'm going at about a 7-mile-an-hour pace and just maintaining that for the majority of the run. Slow breathing, I can still have a conversation. Done! Oh my gosh, I'm hungry. I'm tired too. That actually made me a little bit tired, but it's all good. We're gonna have some food, get recharged, refreshed. I might have to stretch and foam roll. I felt very tight as I was running, so I'm gonna stretch, foam roll, and then, yeah, let's get to it. All right, I'm gonna make some food. Okay, so guys, one thing that I will have to talk about is nutrition. It is so important. It's probably the most important thing. A lot of runners, they don't eat a lot, and you don't realize how many calories you're burning when you're running, and how many calories you're burning when you're lifting, and how many calories it takes just to recover from those two activities, which are very, very, very strenuous on your body. I'm actually snacking on these rice cake rolls. So I follow a very high carb diet. High carb, high protein, moderate fat. That's what I do. And it's because you're burning so many calories and you need carbs in order to get energy for your workout. So these are rice cake rolls. They're so good. It's 8 grams of carbs. They look like this. And this is like a snack that I'll have kind of just throughout the day. Really good. Okay, about half a cup of oatmeal, and then I'm gonna microwave it and add protein powder. Okay, so this is my first meal, oatmeal with protein, Canadian bacon and eggs, Ezekiel bread, and then I have some vitamins back here that I like to take. Focus in the morning. You can't eat to lose weight. You have to eat to fuel your performance, and that's the best way to think about it if you are an athlete that runs and that lifts weights. So I recommend getting in at least 1 gram per pound of body weight. If you're 135 pounds, 135 grams of protein. You shouldn't need too much more than that, but if you want to go a little bit over, that's okay too. So I would recommend choosing carb sources that are high in protein just to make sure you get enough protein within the day. So I always will choose quinoa has a high protein content. Beans have a high protein content even though that they are carb sources. And I always try to add protein to every single meal, or else I find it personally impossible to get enough protein in within the day. Okay, so like for example, I'll cook chicken here, so I'll have this probably for today, maybe tomorrow too, and I'll use that as my protein sources. Okay, so it is now the next day. So we talked about nutrition and eating enough to fuel your performance, fuel your workouts as an endurance athlete or even someone that runs and lifts weights. All right, so now it's time to talk about training. So I'm inside my little miniature home gym. It's very small, but it works. And I'm gonna show you guys what I do for lifting. So one thing that I wanna talk about is if running is your primary focus, if your primary focus is to be a better runner, then I recommend running first before your lifting session. If your focus is to build muscle and to maybe just become a better runner, but your focus is on strength training and muscle gain, then I recommend lifting first and maybe running later, or splitting it up. Running in the morning first thing, hours later, lift. So one thing that I'll do on my weight training days, this is my leg day today, so I'm gonna go ahead and start with a compound movement. So compound movement is anything that is working multiple muscle groups. So it is something like a sumo deadlift, a squat, a bench press. So today, we're gonna start with a sumo deadlift. So I'm gonna do 5 sets of sumo deadlifts, each set increasing the weight. Okay, so then I'll move on to something like a squat, and I add a resistance band on the tops of my knees, and this is gonna put extra tension on your hips and glutes. And as most of you guys probably already know, if you build your glutes, it's going to make you faster. Strong glutes make you faster, propel you forward. It is very important to build up your glutes and strengthen them. So I'm gonna put a band right above the knees. This band is from fitsaccessory.com, by the way. We're gonna do goblet squats. Instead of resting between sets, I'm gonna do jump squats. So what I have found to be very, very beneficial for my strength training routines is to add in these plyometric movements, something like jump squats, something like a speed skater, a box jump, all of these high intensity plyometric moves into your strength training. So in between sets, instead of resting, and then when you do your compound movements, the heavier movements, that's when you're gonna take your time, rest in between sets, and those are gonna be your kind of core movements I wanna say. Okay, so you can add more volume, aka more sets, more reps, more weight, more exercises as you progress, but you want to see how you're recovering and how you're feeling on your runs. You're constantly feeling drained, you're feeling sore all the time. That's not a good sign. So you want to kind of maybe cut back your training a little bit, cut back maybe the days you're training, the amount of weight, the exercises, and take it a little bit easier. So as we are talking about recovery, one thing that you want to make sure you're doing every single day is foam rolling, or I'll show you next, the Theragun, which I'll show you in a second. So foam rolling your IT bands, foam rolling your quads. So the foam roller is going to be the cheaper option for you. This is about $25-30. It's on fitsaccessory.com. I will put it here. The other option, these are about $400 or $500, I believe. It is a Theragun. So one of my clients actually gave me this, which I am so appreciative of because I use it all the time. So you basically have different settings, and it is very similar to a foam roller, except it is vibration. So it's also going to help with muscle recovery and muscle soreness and also tightness. So you kind of just feel your biceps, feel your legs. Okay, so let's say you are not recovering as you like, or you want to get a little bit more strength training in, but you don't want to overdo it. I highly recommend adding bands into your routine. So we did the smaller resistance band, but there are also longer resistance bands. So maybe instead of doing like weighted deadlifts, you can do deadlifts this way. So you would come up. I don't know if you guys can see right now, sorry. But you're basically using a band that's a lot easier on your joints. It is still creating that tension, but you will not, with bands, you do not feel as fatigued as you do with heavier weights, with barbells, with dumbbells. So a good option for runners and for endurance athletes. It's important as a runner to have a strong core, so I recommend doing abs 2 to 3 days a week. You don't need to go too crazy with them. I would recommend doing about 5 to 10 minutes of abs. So pick 4 to 6 exercises total and complete about 3 rounds of each exercise and really burn out that core. This is really gonna help strengthen your core and help you become a better runner. So I hope you guys like this video. If you're using any of these tips, please let me know. I always love to hear that. And go ahead and like and comment anything that you wanna see next. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you guys next time.